Hello, everyone. Look, you have two smiling faces here greeting you. If you're watching us on the Stoner Games YouTube channel, you can see the smiles, but hopefully if you're listening to us, you can hear the smiles. Welcome to Positively Board Gaming. I am Mitchell Whitfield, joined by my fantastical. Fantastic and fantastical are very different. I'll go with fantastic, amazing
Isn't it
co-host.
fantastical? Like
Almost
I
magical.
don't exist.
Yeah,
It's almost magical. So it's not
you're right.
Okay, but
Yeah,
I am real.
No, you are. Well,
Okay, well,
you could be the most elaborate. See, this is the downside to us never having met in person.
right? Yeah,
You
you don't
could
really
be the
know.
most amazing, elaborate AI that I've ever seen. So I'm gonna go with the fact that you're real because many people have met you and love you. So again, he's Jamey. I am Mitchell. We are here to bring you joy in the world of board gaming. We like to put a little positive spin on stuff. Not that we're always positive about everything. We're not. We are human. Sometimes we have a dark, ugly side. Like I'll say no and make a crinkled up face. And Jamey will say yes with a much nicer crinkled up face, maybe no also. But we do try and approach this hobby for me, business, and hobby for Jamey. Just with a little bit of positivity and bring some joy to the world of board gaming, which already brings us so much joy. So if you haven't listened to us before, Jamey, would you like to explain the format that we use?
Yeah, we usually banter for a few minutes about
Yes.
things we're eating, indulging in, maybe a little unrelated topic or just something that's on our mind. And then Mitchell and I each pick a secret tabletop game related, typically tabletop game. It could be any game related topic. And we throw it at the other person. We let them know what we're thinking. We ask what they're thinking, and then we go from there. So,
and last episode, Jamey, it happened.
It did happen for the first time. We had the same topic, thanks to a commenter, someone who had a great topic in the comments. Because we love the questions that you ask us in the comments.
You know what? It makes me wonder though, if maybe before we, no, we're going to let it happen organically, because I was going to say maybe because we both read the comments, so we both get ideas, and sometimes as a rule, we'll mention stuff that was in the comments. So I'm wondering if before we start, you go, hey, just so you know, I took one from the comments. I took one too. Okay, let's see what happens. I don't even know. I think we should just let it happen because the ding, ding, ding could be our new thing. I don't know. Before we start, do you have a before we start and or a treat of the day?
I have kind of a combination of the two.
Right.
We're recording this on a Monday, and actually this thing could happen on any day of the week, but it just happens to happen today, where I am going to a concert tonight, something I rarely do, but I'm excited about it. And we're going out to dinner beforehand. So I'm having a treat at a restaurant that I haven't tried before. I'm always excited about trying a new restaurant. And then afterward, I'm going to a concert. And I have a question for you leading to this concert.
Sure.
The concert is by a musician called Lucy Dacus.
Okay.
And I only really know of this musician.
Okay.
She's become quite famous. She's somewhat, I would, not a superstar, but she has like millions of views on her music videos. So pretty famous. She happens to have gone to my high school years after I went there.
Okay.
And I went to a very small high school. It was a fairly small. There were like 100 people in my class, basically that size of high school.
Sounds like my high school. Yeah.
Very small. She went years after me. I don't know her personally. She doesn't know me personally, but I'm excited to go there. And it was fun to discover her music through that. I was wondering, do you have anyone who went to your high school who got pretty big, got pretty famous, other than you?
Okay, so this is kind of a loaded question.
Okay.
Because I went to the High School of Performing Arts in New York, which was made famous by the movie Fame and the TV series Fame, right? So, by definition, there were a lot of talented people in our class that went on to a lot of different stuff. Most recently, my classmate Keisha Lewis just won the Tony Award, I think, for Hell's Kitchen on Broadway.
Wow.
Erica Gimple was in the TV show Fame for years. Oh gosh, we have Helen Slater, Danny Bursey, a lot of our classes won a lot of Tony Awards. Been on stage, film, TV, a lot. So I'm very fortunate. And the funny thing is, I was agreeing with you. Our graduating class, I believe, was around 135, 140 something people. Yeah. And only a third of that was the acting department, because the High School of Performing Arts was divided into acting, dance, and music, drama, dance, and music. And I think the new one in New York sort of merged with the High School of Music and Art after I left. And now it's LaGuardia High School of the Arts, which I think includes painting more, traditional artistry drawing. So it's changed a little bit. I went to the original. Don't ever forget that. And so yeah, we had
our high school changed names.
Did it really?
A couple of years after I went there. Yeah. So yeah.
Did you get proprietary? Well, I didn't go to that. I went to the original name. Sorry. I get so proprietary, but silly stuff like that. I mean, I do it, mostly jokingly, but I'm joking about it. But yeah, we were very fortunate. We had some incredible actors in our class, and the years before, the years after, there are a lot of people in Hollywood that went to the High School of Performing Arts, and you could probably rattle off if you just researched a lot of. So I was very lucky. I was surrounded by incredibly talented people, which really is great for you because great for the person that's there also, because you're working with and off of amazing people. It's like when you're playing sports. If you want to play sports at a high level, you play against people that are either as good or better than you to raise your game. And I think it's the same thing when you're in a class with really talented people. It definitely raises the bar for you. And it was a great experience. It was pretty incredible.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Do
you have a treat or any other topics on your mind before we?
Real quick. My dad and his girlfriend were in for about 8 or 9 days visiting from New York. Okay. Now they're going to Florida. They're doing the snowbird thing. They came to us between New York and Florida. They go to New York for the summertime, came to visit us for 8 days. Now they're going back to Florida for the wintertime. So it was a treat to spend time with my dad, because I don't get to see him a whole lot. So it was wonderful. And tonight we're having family game night. And I think look what I'm busting out. Your recommendation.
Ooh, just one.
Just one.
Yes.
Yeah. So it'll be played for the first time tonight. It's a good, because it really, like, finding games for 6 people that are easy to teach, sort of really quick and engage. I try and keep it simple, because not everyone in the group is like a heavy duty board gamer. So I try to keep it on the lighter side. So finding those 6-player games that are on the lighter side, not always party games, it gets a little bit challenging. So I'm always like rotating stuff in. We'll play Night of the Ninja, probably Love Letter a little bit also, but I wanted to break out your recommendation of just one. So thank you.
I really hope you enjoyed it. It's a wonderful game. It's a delightful game.
I love it. I've heard from you. I've heard from other people. You were the impetus for getting it, but all I hear is wonderful things about it. And by the way, bravo on your list, your most recent top 10 games. And I love how you put it in the video. Again, you're being mindful of people that may be watching it years later, or that have seen your previous videos and go, "Hey, what happened to that game out here?" So, well, you took that off your list, and you're always saying, "This is my list, my 10 favorite games as of now on this date in September 2025," because it does change. Not that you start instantly hate a game, but new things come into your mind. You're like, "Oh my God, how about, sort of like Vantage did for me." It just like swept in. I'm like, "Oh my, now it's all about Vantage." So I love that list, and we have a lot of similarities. And you bumped Space Base, but you made room for other great games. So there you go.
Yeah, they tend to come and go. And I've almost found that, like, I'll be loving a game, and then because I almost love it so much, I'll play a lot, and then I'll take a break from it. And so because I love it at one time, it'll drop off the list the next time, and then I'll kind of come back to it. So it'll come and go like that. Yeah.
But that's what your honorable mentions list is for. Those things that you love that get bumped off, and then they get bumped back on. So Jamey,
can I give you a quick tip?
Of course, of course.
About just one. Just a tiny little thing.
Yes.
You have these little placards that you're going to write on.
The white ones that are like, they stand up by themselves. Yeah.
You might already know this tip. This is just a little tip.
No.
But there's one side of it that like holds the card whenever you have the card and you face it away from you. That side is kind of handy to be the one that you write on, even though it's almost people's instinct to write on the other side. Because if you write on that side, when you lean it down on the table to show that you're ready, it doesn't rub against the table, because there's a little gap between that side.
Oh, okay.
Writing. Can you picture what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not describing that very well, but yeah, just a little tip for.
Okay. All right. We'll do that.
Pro tip.
I don't want to mess it up. I'm not going to write.
Maybe
as soon as we're done, I'll be breaking out. Like, what was he talking about? Let me see that side. I'll show when we're done.
Yeah.
I'll
pull it out. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. So Jamey.
Yes.
You've explained the format. Last week, I think is probably going to be an anomaly, or was an anomaly, at least for the previous 24 before that. So here in episode 26, what topic that I know nothing about, at least now, would you like to bring up?
Well, you knew a hint of this topic, which was last weekend, about 8 or 9 days ago, that I was going to a big friends gathering that we call Group Virgins. This is just a big gathering of friends, and we go here and we chill and we eat and we hang out and we do nerdy and geeky stuff, including playing games.
Awesome.
And many of these games, I think they call them room parties because this originated as a completely different convention that they went to, this group of people, and they then just decided to make it their own little private event for friends. It's like 35 people. I think maybe, I think we had 34 people at the most while we were there. Off in Branson, Missouri. It was, I want to be honest and say that I had a rough experience due to a specific event that happened that was not the fault of anyone running the event. It was something that I realized about myself during a specific game. I'm not going to go into that today.
Okay.
I'm going to stay positive. But I do talk about it on my personal blog in case anyone wants to look into some social anxiety that I experienced related to a certain game.
Okay, because it can be helpful, and it's not negative. It can be, like you say, it can be a helpful thing. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it was really helpful for me to process it and write about it.
Okay.
But having done that, and since I've gone through that processing, I was also able to realize how much fun I was having at the other events that happened. And so I wanted to talk about the games that we played. These were almost like carnival style games. And one game that I ran, and I wanted to see what you thought of these different games.
Sure.
I'll start off with one of the little carnival style games. Very, very simple, but it was a Stardew Valley, the video game Stardew Valley. It was a Stardew Valley inspired room party or event. And one of the little mini games they had there was a fishing mini game, because a lot of these video games have a fishing mini game.
Of course.
Game. And so it was a very simple carnival game where you were putting a reel into a pool of magnetic fish, pulling the fish out. Not challenging at all. The hook, though, that I thought was pretty clever.
Oh, the hook. I like where you're going with this. Keeping with the fishing. Go ahead. Hook,
is that later that night, there was going to be there's a lot of drinking at this thing.
Okay.
There was going to be a drinking party where people were all inventing their own cocktails and kind of making each other drink these specialty cocktails. And so the hook here was that the color of fish that you pulled out of this pool corresponded to a color of liquor. And then you could choose, there's a lot of bottles of liquor at this place. You could choose one of those bottles that corresponded with that color and add it to a punch bowl of a punch that was being created on an ongoing basis based on this fishing mini game. So say, Mitchell, you went fishing, you pulled out a red fish, you could choose a red liquor and add that to the punch bowl, add a few shots of it. And then I came along and I get a blue fish. And so I find a blue liquor and I added that to that same punch bowl. And eventually someone's going to drink that. What do you think about that outcome for the game?
I was going to say, I think college is calling and wants its party back. That's my first reaction. It's like, it sounds, first of all, I have to be completely transparent. I'm not a drinker. So for me, it sounds very interesting and very fun if you are a drinker. It also sounds like a recipe for a really bad stomach ache, assuming that things don't mix that well. So where they're like, is it sort of like a Long Island iced tea where they're like, there were so many different liquors being added that they cancel each other out? First of all, the theme of it is awesome. I'm just wondering, I'm thinking of it like pragmatically. I'm thinking about, how did it taste? Was it okay? Was it nausea inducing, or was it wonderful? Because it sounds really cool, but I don't know how it was in real life having to consume this thing. Did you actually consume it?
I was not there by the time it was consumed, but
good one. Yeah.
And I also, I'm not drinking right now either. And so I brought some fake alcohols, a brand called Ritual that I really like. They make these fake whiskey, fake rum. So I had those. I was making drinks with them the whole time.
That's awesome.
A blast with that. I heard that it tasted like a neutral Jolly Rancher. I don't really know what that means, but I can taste a Jolly Rancher. I just don't know what neutral means.
I think the neutrality comes from sort of like the analogy I made with the Long Island iced tea, which is you mix so many liquors or alcohol beverages together, they cancel each other out, and you just taste the sweetness, the sugar, whatever was added that wasn't alcoholic, even though alcohol has sugar in it, obviously. But I think the neutrality comes from probably the booze canceling it, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because you don't really realize what's in there and how much of it there is. You just taste the sweetness and go, I could drink a million of these. And like 3 drinks later, it's like, Jamie's on the couch with his tongue hanging out. But I know you didn't partake in that. But yeah, it actually sounds very fun, but also a little bit scary, especially to a non-drinker going, how would I handle that? I would have to take little gentle sips and go, it's very good, very interesting.
Yeah.
I like Jolly Ranchers, that's for sure, but I'm not sure about this. But that is super cool. I didn't realize it was like that. I didn't know you were going to have an event like that. That's very cool.
I thought that was a clever hook. I have 2 other quick ones that I'll mention here.
Yes.
Actually, so my event that I ran, my room party, was a human version of the game Codenames.
Okay.
So in Codenames, you have a 5x5 grid of words, and then someone is on a team and they give a clue that connects several words that are associated with our team.
Okay.
Uh, um, it's I don't know if you've played it before, but it has like
I haven't, but
like different colors are associated with the words, but
okay.
uh, only one only one person, only the clue giver can see what those words are. And
Okay.
so I'm trying to give you clues that let you guess the words that are, I say blue if we're on the blue team.
Okay.
Um, with human code names, this thing that I invented just because we had enough people to play this,
Okay.
instead of words, we had a 5x5 grid of people
Oh, that's
sitting
awesome.
in
Yeah.
this grid wearing kind of silly things, somewhat like distinctive outlandish clothing. Like you and I actually are prepped pretty well for this right now
Oh,
because I'm
okay.
wearing a distinctively blue shirt. You're wearing
Yeah.
a distinctively kind of a reddish shirt
Yeah, like a
and
salmon color. Yeah.
a salmon color. And you're wearing headphones. So if you had worn headphones to this, that I might have connected that to like people wearing something on their head or something like that.
Okay. So did you pick what everyone was wearing too? So you curated the whole thing?
No, they got to. I just said wear something distinctive and interesting and maybe
Okay.
outlandish,
Okay.
and so
Okay.
people kind of had fun with that.
That's awesome.
Uh, the game itself worked pretty well because Codenames itself works well as a game. This worked well as a game, and it was almost a nice like a lot of these room parties. They can not be intense, but like the whole focus can be on something all at once. And my
Right.
last example will explain that a little bit better.
Okay.
But this was kind of chill. Like you were literally just have 25 people who are sitting in a grid and they aren't really doing anything. They are just hanging out with each other, which is great
Right.
for this gathering because
Right.
we come to this place mostly just to hang out with each other. And then a few people go off and they're kind of, we had a balcony around this 5x5 grid. So they were looking down at the 5x5
Oh,
people.
that's friggin' awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah. So kind of like the layout of the house worked well for this vacation home, worked well for it. And it kind of hit the early afternoon vibe of an event like this really well.
That sounds really cool. And I like how
Yeah.
creative you got with. Have you ever thought of like designing games?
Oh, you can do that. Is that something that you can do?
No,
You
have
can
you ever thought of
it?
designing games as being a
Yeah.
designer? Because
No, I'm being
yeah, that's very no. That's the thing. It's like, why am I surprised that Jamey came up with this super clever idea, especially like with the downward view? It's because you had a different vantage point that way.
Ooh,
See, I could tie it all together with the hooks. See what I'm
yeah.
doing here? That sounds. What was there another? There was another one you were going to talk about that was more intense, or
The last one, it was intense in small moments. It was
okay.
thematically, it was like a horse race where we were betting on horses racing, but instead of horses, they were marbles. It was betting on a marble race that was happening. It's this couple has done this a few years in a row, and they kind of go with they make it feel like the Kentucky Derby in terms of the Southern vibe. They do accents the whole time just because it's fun. The marbles all have names and backstories, and
That's great.
and it's just it was a silly good time. And I'm saying the reason I brought this up before is that everyone's focus is on the marble race while it's happening, and
Right.
then after it doesn't last very long, and so everyone pays attention to that, and they go and collect their money if they won, and then they bid on the next race, and you can use your winnings to bid on art and things like that. I don't know. I was curious, which of those three, how did those sound, and which of those three do you think you would be the most excited to participate in?
I think the last two. I
Yeah,
think the last two that you
yeah,
mentioned, I love the idea of the human grid,
yeah.
and the vantage point that you were talking about, which is
Mhm.
awesome. And I love the idea of big hats, mint juleps, and marbles.
Yes,
There's just
exactly,
something,
exactly.
we're just going to we're turning this into a full-on Kentucky Derby. You got to have the big hats, maybe with
Yeah.
marbles rolling off the room. I don't know. I think the
Uh-huh.
last two, just for the whimsy of them and just for the fun of it, I think
Yeah.
those two really appeal to me. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's awesome.
Just some fun like, types of things that I can't do at like a 6-person game night.
Of course.
It was fun because we had so many people together in one place, so many really wonderful people together in one place.
That is
So
really
yeah,
nice, and I'm glad and that's often something that's super challenging, especially if you think about a regular board game group, and a lot of board game groups grow because you have
yeah.
people sometimes that can make it or can't make it on certain nights, as with me, not making it most of the time, the idiot that I am. But then you end up, let's say the group that, is supposed to be like a 5-person game that grows into 8 or 10.
Mhm.
Okay, then it's like, okay, how do we split this up into two
Yeah.
separate games and make sure that the people are like-minded in terms of the types of games they like to play? So it can be really challenging, but to have that big a group and be able to manage it in that much fun of a way and having game rooms and dividing them into, I think it sounds great. It's challenging, but it sounds like it was done really, really, really well.
We had a blast
I'm glad.
playing
That's
these
awesome.
games. So 34 people involved in these things. Mitchell, how many people are involved in your topic today?
Me. Wow, way to make me feel like a total myopic crazy person. Like, it's all about me, Jamey. It's me. No, I came up with a little something. I thought about something,
Yeah.
and it's something that you've talked about in some of your videos. There are games that surprise us, right? They're just games that sort of surprise us, and we're surprised by our reaction to it. And I've seen you talk about it, and I've thought about this as well. And I thought, let me come up with like 5 games that surprised me for whatever reason that is. And I know going into this that in order to be, and I always say this, how much expectation plays a huge role. How expectation plays a huge role in how we react to things. Two people, you see the same movie, and depending on, Jamey, this movie stinks. It's not that I'd say that, but this is terrible. You're going to hate it. You go in, even if the movie's mildly good, the bar's been set so low, you're like, Mitchell's crazy. This was great. Conversely, if somebody says, oh my God, Jamey, this will change your life on every level. It's funny. It's politically important. It's great. You have to see this. And you see, you're like, he's nuts. This is like, okay. I mean, I didn't get it. Maybe I didn't get it. So it's same movie, same person. The only difference is the expectation going in. So I've always been aware of how expectations play a role in our reaction to things. So when I say I'm surprised by this, it's not because, I thought it was going to be a good game or a bad game, but maybe it was, I thought it would be a little tougher, on the difficulty scale. And it was like, I grasped it quickly, or I thought a little game meant it would be a little experience, but ended up being a much bigger experience. So there's always a slight bit of expectation that was going into these games, never negative, just like, I looked at the box. And sometimes we just make a judgment looking at the box. I know what this game is. It's going to be this. And you're like, oh my God, I was so wrong. Right.
Yeah.
So I just picked a few games, and I'll mention them. I'll keep it brief because I've been rambling on a lot today. First one, I don't know. I think I told you about this, but I don't know if you ever got it or played it. It's a game called Shifting Stones. It's a 2-person tile laying game.
Okay.
Have you played this? It's
I think you've talked about it, but no, I have not played it. Yeah.
It's by Game Right Games. And basically it's a 3x3 grid. It's a square of tiles. And you're handed out cards that have patterns on them. And the idea is for you to match those stones, where they're tiles, but we'll call them stones because that's what they represent in the game, to the pattern that you have. And then if you match that pattern on your turn, if the stones are in that position, you put your card down and you get points for that. But on your turn, you can do one of 2 things. You can either move a tile, swap 2 tiles, swap the placement, or flip the tile because it has something different on the other side. So Jamey could be sitting there with a hand of cards going, okay, I know what I'm doing on my turn. And then I'm taking my turn. I flip something, move. Jamey's like, oh, he's taking away my puzzle. Now I'm going to have to do something else. Yeah. And I was surprised by how thinky and fun it was, and sort of the, not how tense it was, but sitting there like hoping that person, they're going to make their play, but you're just hoping that one card doesn't get moved because you have something that's going to play a 5-point card that's going to kill. And you're just waiting for that. And if that person does move it, do you have a card on your turn that can reverse it to get it back to where you want? Because you have to play a card to reverse it. So you're going to have to play a card that you're not going to use for scoring in order to move. So there's this mind puzzle, in addition to the physical puzzle of not only what am I going to do now, what am I going to do if I have to anticipate ways that you can stop me, and then almost have a way for me to counter your counter. So there's so much thinkiness that go into it. It's a beautiful game. It's not an expensive game. I think it's like a $20 game, and it's just really, really, I think you and Megan would love it. Now watch, you're going to play it and go,
Shifting Stones?
Shifting Stones.
Shifting Stones.
By Game Right. It's really fun, very elegant looking, very simple, but again, the strategy, really cool. Another one was a game called Number Drop. You ever heard of Number Drop? It's an AEG game. I think it came out last year, maybe.
No.
So we went to PAX Unplugged, which I'm going again this year, I think in early December. And AEG always has big game night, and you sign up for it. I think you pay a certain amount of money in advance. They teach you like 4 new games, and I think you get to leave with like 3 or either all of them or 3 of them at the end of the day. They give you new copies of them. And it's always a much better value. Like you pay a little bit of money, and the game value is much more than the price of entry. And one of the games was called Shifting Stones. No, Number Drop. Number Drop is another puzzly kind of game where think of you're rolling dice that have numbers on them. You have a grid, your own piece of paper. It's kind of a roll and write style. So you have this grid, and you are given a shape at the beginning of the turn, and you have to put those numbers almost in a Tetris-like shape. Doesn't matter how you place them, but you're looking to fulfill either almost like like numbers of the same kind, ascending numbers, descending numbers, consecutive numbers. But depending on what the next turn is, you're dropping these numbers in almost like a Tetris puzzle. So you have to arrange the shape doesn't change, but you can change which die goes where with the numbers that you have to sort of fit it in. If you drop in like that one point that settles at the bottom to fill a bottom row, you want to make sure that die that you're dropping in there is a number that will help you with something else. So it's almost like an engine building polyomino number dropping game. It's really hard to explain. I hope I'm doing a decent job of it.
Yeah.
But you're using these dropped shapes that you form your dice in, and the numbers, when they drop in there, you're hoping will form consecutive. They can add on to other things you've already put in. So you can do something with the plan of adding something later, leave a space knowing you have to drop a 5 in there and hope you get the right shape with the right number roll to get it. It's really fun. Again, another one that I think you would like. And it seems, I was like, oh, I love Tetris. I can't remember how many hours I spent, but adding the numbers and the puzzle of it, and there are little blocks you can do so people can't put something there and it might ruin a little bit of take that, but it doesn't really feel like that. You're so into your puzzle. It's a really, really cool game. I'll just add a couple more. I won't do all of them.
Yeah.
Have you played QE by Board Game Tables?
Oh yeah. I love QE.
And this is a game. It's a closed bidding collection game. Is that a good way of putting a closed bidding collection game? Because you're trying to collect these. The idea is that you're like a financial institution that's trying to take over these failing companies and buy them all. But you're trying to buy them in themes. Like you might want to buy ones of from the same country, because each company has its own little country, and you're trying to get the same business type that'll match. And so you're trying to create, almost like these tricks of different tiles that you collect from these businesses that you buy. But it's a closed bidding system. And the whole catch for this game, and Jamey already knows this, is you can bid as much as you want. You can bet. I bet $1 billion on this, because you could either bet $5, and there's no physical money. You just bet a certain amount. And if you were the highest bidder, you win that tile. The only caveat is obviously the person with the most points wins, unless, of course, you've spent the most money. If you've spent the most money at the end of the game, you're not eligible to win. So you have to be smart about outbidding people, but not bet too much, because you don't want to be ineligible to actually win the game. Did this game kind of catch you off guard? What were you, when you heard about it, you're like, especially as a designer, like, wait a minute, there's no way you can do anything you want matches any sort of metric for any game that I've ever done. Did you think about that before you played?
That was pretty much my reaction to it. I was like, it made me curious, but I was like, there's no way this works. But it does work.
It works.
Yeah.
It's like magic. It's really weird. And I know a lot of people have the same sort of, maybe that was the expectation came in. It's like, okay, how's this going to work that you can bet $1 quintillion and suddenly you're, oh, I won all the tricks, but I have the most money spent, so I lose. What? How'd that happen? And again, you're trying to, by the end of the game, you have to keep track of what you bid and maybe try and loosely keep track of what other people, it's like, oh, I can't bid too much on this. It's better to lose this trick and let somebody overbid. And they just bid enough to win and they didn't spend too much money. You're like, how'd you do that? So fantastic game. And you know what made it on here too? One of your favorite games, although I don't think it was on your list this year. Fantasy Realms.
Oh, I love Fantasy Realms. Yeah.
I love Fantasy Realms. Jamey turned me on to this game. It is a card game where you're putting together a hand, and there are these symbiotic relationships among the cards, and the cards tell you how they relate to other cards and what you need in order to get that card to its maximum value. So you're trying to build this hand over several turns, and other people around the table are doing the same thing. Hopefully not what you're doing. To place a card, take a card, and you're just trying to build this hand that does the best job point-wise of playing off of other cards in your hand. Is that the best way to describe it? Am I missing something major, or?
No, I think that's perfect. Yeah.
And but that's the whole thing. That's the funny part. It sounds pretty simple.
Yeah.
I introduce this to people. The first thing they say afterwards, okay, we have to do it again. Now that I get the puzzle, I have to do it again. People love playing this over and over. The game plays pretty quickly. The game teaches itself basically because the cards tell you, it's like, I want to be with this guy. And if you have this and you have this card becomes of no value if you have this in your hand. Okay, gotta get rid of that. And hopefully you're not, so you're really trying to maximize your scoring. And it's just, again, the simplicity of it is what makes it so elegant. The design is so, and I know you're paying homage to that in Red Rising. I mean, it's such a great system. And it really, really works. And it's a game that you can come back to. It doesn't sound like it. The replay sounds like, oh, I'll get bored. It's like, no, there's so many different combinations and so many different ways. Even when there are strict rules, there are still so many ways to use those cards. It just blew me away. My last one was One Deck Dungeon. I'll just mention it briefly.
Oh, okay.
And the idea of like a dungeon crawl being in a little card box, it's ridiculous, but somehow it does give that dungeon crawl vibe. And
Yeah.
are there any of these that you played that you were surprised by, or is there a game that sort of you didn't really know what to expect or thought, oh, it was going to be this, and it was something totally different?
It's hard for me to come up with that on the top of my head, but I
Yeah, yeah,
think you've touched like QE. I think was a great example where I was like, how is this going to work?
yeah.
Fantasy Realms, same thing. Especially since with Fantasy Realms, there's a bit of a magic trick to it because you're like, you start off with this hand of cards, and maybe something in that hand matches up with something else that you have
Yeah,
in your
if you're
hand of
lucky.
cards.
Yeah.
But oftentimes, like a card wants a very specific card or a card type, but there aren't that many of each card type in the deck. And yet by the end of each game of Fantasy Realms, you've probably scored around 200 points based on the things so it feels kind of magical the way it comes together.
I agree.
And then One Deck Dungeon was actually a major inspiration for Vantage, even though they're very different
wow.
games. In that in One Deck Dungeon, you pretty much always succeed unless you die in doing the challenge. You're placing dice, again, a very different way than Vantage, but you're placing dice to mitigate the bad thing that's happening. But you are going to get past that monster, or you're going to get past that door. And once I played that, I was like, I don't think I've ever, like, that was the first time I'd ever played anything like that. Or it still felt like a unique challenge, a unique puzzle, even though I was going to succeed and move forward in the dungeon.
And it gives you a little bit of that. If you like D&D, if you like those tropes, if you like that style of game, it gives you that too. With your character, with what you're fighting, the grid on there. It's really, really cool. So I love, and again, I always went with like pleasantly surprised stuff, Actually, I haven't had too many reactions where I'm like, I thought it would be different. There's always something about a game. It's kind of like me with movies. People say, oh, I didn't like this movie. I was like, you know what? If I go to a movie and I find one part of that movie, one scene that gave me, or a great line that gave me a laugh or gave me something to think about, that I go away remembering that scene, remembering that line, it's a win for me. I had a good time. I think I can count on maybe one hand in my lifetime where about halfway through the movie, I was like, no, I'm going to cut my losses. I think I'm going to go home. And people are like, how could you leave? It's like, because I was I weighed it. I weighed it in my mind. The cost financially, the cost to the time. And I was like, okay, but that hardly ever happens. I usually find, especially now as a mostly grown up, I think I almost always find something to like about a movie, but it's like, wow, that was challenging. But I did find that one line that made me laugh. So,
Well, I have three questions for our listeners today.
Yes.
One is, have you ever played, kind of like the human Codenames thing? Have you ever played a game with a big group of people that you really enjoyed playing, like a really big group of people? Two, have you ever played a game that exceeded your expectations or broke some preconceived notion about what that game was going to be and ended up really enjoying it? And then three, for next week, most likely Mitchell and I are going to do a Stuff We Love episode. So kind of a bunch of quick hits, or a TV show we're really enjoying right now, a movie that we've enjoyed recently, probably a video game or a tabletop game or both, or an older game or a new game. Really anything goes for these quick hit categories. If you have a category like that you'd like us to consider, put it in the comments for this video. And I think we'll get to it. Yeah, we'll have, if you get to us right away, we'll have a little time to see those comments before we film the next video.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. Yeah.
Just comment really quick. That's it. No pressure.
Real quick. Do it now.
Jamey, thank you for doing this. As always, it's something I look forward to. Brings me a lot of joy. I'm looking forward to this next one. I'm gonna start taking notes early. I'm gonna start taking notes. I'm gonna start reading. I'm gonna be a big boy, Jamey. I'm really good. I'm already like the pressure of it all. Thank you for doing this. As always, as Jamey said, please leave your comments, because not only do we get joy from reading them, it really helps form our shows. If not the next show, then many shows after that. We really do listen and comment on what you guys comment about. Sometimes make a whole subject or a whole part of the show about it. And if you listen to us on your favorite podcasting platform of choice, thank you so much. You can also leave us comments there. Jamey, thank you. And we will talk to you guys next week.
Thank you, Mitchell. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.